So episode 12 wasn't the explosive episode that I was kind of hoping for, but it was good. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Turnout. I'm your host, Aloy. Don't forget to check out usaaudiences.com for special event and movie screening invites. And today we are back with our continuing series of reviews for the Charmed Reboot second season. And we're talking about episode 12 today. This was interesting because last episode seemed to be building up to something huge. And then we kind of get this episode. It felt a little filler. It also had some pretty monumental things happening in it, but it just felt like it kind of messed with some of the momentum that we were building up. I thought that really this episode was going to be explosive. But if the one after this is the one that actually is explosive, then I feel like this episode would be to blame for messing up the momentum. I thought they were going right into it. However, this episode was really good, and I think that it's starting to really kind of tie up some of the loose ends that we have been experiencing this second season. I feel like just coming back from the mid-season, I think they just had a lot of time to think about it, and they're like, we really need to kind of change course and change a few things, because pretty much all of the episodes after the mid-season break have been better than the ones before. So this one, again, has a lot of Abigail. So let's start off there. Let's go with Abigail and Harry. I'm not liking the fact that she is continuously chasing him.
Abby, you invited me for dinner.
But you really came for dessert, didn't you?
Knowing that he kind of really wants Macy, and I don't like that, because like, she is a strong woman, she's beautiful, she has so many things going for her, she's a trickster, and I don't know, it kind of hurts my feelings that she feels that she like needs him. You don't need him, girl, seriously. But it hurts me, honestly, just to see that she has put herself in this kind of situation where she just feels like Harry is the thing that she needs, and he don't want her. Like, that's the problem. Like, somebody in the comments said, why would you want a man who loves somebody else? And I freaking agree with that, like, a lot. That said, I don't have a problem with her giving it her best shot, but it can only really go so far. Now, of course, Macy and the sisters decide to do a reunification of the powers of 3 spell that they found in the Book of Elders, and it looks like it's working, but then Macy seems to be the odd man out, like it's not working for her.
You are the weakest link. Bye.
So she decides that she needs to get rid of her demon half, because if she can get rid of the demon part of her, then it would allow room for the witch part of her to come back in. And that's where Abigail comes into play. She goes to Abigail.
Oh, you think they might be blocking your witch powers somehow? And you need those to reclaim the power of 3. Am I getting warmer?
You know what? Forget it. This was a mistake.
All right, I'll help you.
And says, I need your help. And she says, well, I have to bring you to Parker, because Parker's the only one that knows where the knife is that he was going to use to take Abigail's powers away. So there's this weird exchange. Like, I don't know, it seems a little obvious, because Macy's like, I want to talk to Parker alone, and she's like, don't do it for me, I know you hate me, but do it for Maggie. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, Abigail didn't need to leave the room for you to have that conversation. That was the obvious play. That was the obvious way to talk him into it. And he's like, fine, but only if you pass this note to Maggie. And I was like, okay, that seems fair, but like, you can just say you're gonna do it and then not do it. Like, you don't have to do it just because you said you're going to. Get the knife, and then like, you don't have to deal with Parker, Macy, seriously. That's the thing about TV, is like, if somebody gives their word and says, if they agree to something, then it's like assumed that they're gonna do the thing. And it's like, in real life, that's not how it happens. It's pretty easy to lie to a guy who can't do anything to you in a cell. Now, it might be unethical to lie to him, but you could just say, yeah, of course, I will totally give this to Maggie, and then just don't. And she ended up not doing it in the end anyway, but it wasn't because it was self-serving, like, I'm just not gonna do it. It was because they're all kind of having this existential crisis of love, and Mel is denying the bartender, the cute bartender, who was actually really cute. So she wants to go there, and Maggie, I think, is gonna try and give Jordan a shot, which, I don't know, I kind of like them better as friends, but you know, whatever. I mean, if you have two cute people together, sometimes some stuff will happen. And Macy's like, I kind of want to get with Harry, but like Harry is still kind of torn and kind of bouncing back and forth. And she has Julian, so, you know, there you go. But honestly, you can tell that the story is gearing up for an eventual Hasty situation still, even though I really like Juicy, I really like Abigail or Harabelle, I don't know, one of the two. I like them with other people, I really don't want them together. But it's cool if they do end up together because I think that they would be kind of cute. But the big episode of this episode involved Helen. That was the first White Lighter, the one we met earlier in the season, the one that's kind of in the mental hospital. And her Dark Lighter half got free and started killing a bunch of people. So it's like, oh no. And they found out that like Helen was, you know, married away in her family at 16, and she never really got to make any choices for herself. And like her life has just been crap. And it's sad to say it that way, but it's like just her life has just been one giant piece of crap the whole time. And then of course becoming the first White Lighter ripped her soul apart, which just meant that the rest of her existence was just as bad. And what they find out from her is that the reason why Harry didn't die and the reason that Dark Harry didn't die is because a White Lighter can't kill a Dark Lighter or vice versa.
What does she mean?
Dark lighters can't kill white lighters.
So it takes somebody else to kill them. So to all the people who were commenting last week about like, why are we scared about Harry having a demon parasite if he can't die? It's not that he can't die, it's just that Jimmy can't kill him and he can't kill Jimmy. But that demon parasite could have killed him. But I also understand that they didn't really do a good job explaining that. So there you go, they did this time. In the end, Macy's like, well, there's probably some sort of interesting reunification spell probably in the Book of Elders. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you telling me that they haven't looked in the Book of Elders for a spell about recombining the Dark Lighter and the White Lighter halves? Really? They haven't looked for that at all? That's never come to their mind when they have a Dark Lighter after them and Harry has been going through an existential crisis about only being half a man? This has never come into their minds at all. But of course, when they were trying to do that, Dark Helen tries to kill Macy because she hears the word elders and starts flipping out. And Helen stabs herself. So that's the thing. You can kill yourself, you just cannot kill your other half. But she unifies in that last moment, becomes a full person, is a complete person, is happy, and then dies. It was the only thing she ever got to choose in her own life was when she died. And I actually thought that was a really cool ending for her personally. And all that did was just set up for what's now going to happen with Jimmy and Harry. They are definitely going to be combined at some point. Though at the same time, I feel like there's this ethical question about whether they need to be combined or whether they should be combined. Because by all accounts right now, Jimmy and Harry are two different beings. They are split from the same person, but they are two different people living two different lives, different sets of motivations. It's kind of like the idea of an AI. If I create an AI copy of myself and it starts thinking independently, is it ethical for me to erase it? Whew, there's a whole lot that goes into this ethical kind of conversation about who is a person and who is not a person. I think we should probably keep it simple in terms of Charmed and say that they're both Harry, so combining them is not the wrong thing to do. But I feel like also you are robbing each half of Harry from their eventual goals and their own motivations and their own being by combining them. But we'll see what happens, because if it was going to go my way, I would say they need to stay separate, and I think that they just need to come to terms with each other and just be like, hey, are we cool? Yeah, we're cool, and just like call it a day. But if we're following TV tropes, more than likely they're going to get combined because we just saw it happen on the show. But obviously they need to find a way for it to happen without Harry having to kill himself. And one last note, Abigail now has Macy's fire powers, so oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what she does with those. Otherwise, what did you guys think of this last episode of Charmed, episode 12? I feel like it was a little bit of a filler, but also some pretty interesting stuff happens here. I want to know what you guys think though. Let me know about all of that down in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. And I have been your host, Aloy. This has been The Turnout. Thanks for showing up.